call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Love having a crowd today. We do not have anybody wishing to address the board. I didn't see any papers up here. So we'll move on to approval of the minutes of the November 3rd meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those minutes are approved. On to approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That carries. There were no new conflicts of interest presented, so I'll move on to the consent agenda. Items 7A through D. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those are approved. Now to the reports to the president. New academic programs, Dr. Valdez.
Good afternoon, President Mickelson, members of the board. My name is Benjamin Valdez, and I'm the Vice President of Academic Affairs for Southeast Tech. I am coming to you today asking for approval on 4 proposed academic programs that we would like to bring forth in the next few years. So I'll go through each one individually and ask for approval at the end. The first program is an Associate of Applied Science and Human Resource Management. Our business faculty, led by Stacy McManus, has been working tirelessly with industry to look at opportunities to expand. One of the areas that we have seen is the need for additionally trained individuals within the human resource field, especially given the current pandemic and situation and challenges that many companies are facing with human resources, recruiting, processing employees and everything. They're really looking for additional assistance, and this is a great entry-level program for individuals to get into this career field. The program is set up that we are working that it would become a transferable program into a baccalaureate program. The nice part about this is it is in alignment with the Society of Human Resource Management certification. So after completion of the degree and a few years within industry, an individual can apply for additional certification through SHRM. So that is the first program. The second program is Associate of Applied Science in Behavioral and Mental Health. Our health team, led by Program Chair Brittany Maurer, has been working tirelessly with Vera Mental Health primarily, as well as the state of South Dakota and several other industry partners, to develop an entry-level program to assist with addressing the growing need for trained technicians to assist with behavioral and mental health within our communities and within the state. This program is an entry-level program. It provides individuals with basic skills and training necessary to do things such as lead groups, assist with monitoring patients, assisting with patient care, and providing additional relief. So it is a strong program that we feel has a lot of opportunities, and based upon the needs and the growing concerns within our society, we feel this would be a strong program for many individuals. The next program is a Certificate in Community Health Worker. This we were originally approached by the South Dakota Community Health Worker Association and the South Dakota Department of Health to create this program. The state of South Dakota has received grant funding to start this program throughout the entire state. We would be the second program to be offered to offer this type of credentialing. The community health worker is kind of an interesting program. It is a liaison between an individual seeking or needing health care and their healthcare provider. Helps them anything from arranging rides, understanding their medication, making sure they're staying on top of appointments. Really becomes that bridge between the recipient and the provider. So we really feel this would be a great opportunity. The nice part is the certificate. It's a 1-semester certificate. It is really geared. One of the things the state of South Dakota is hoping to do is reach out to individuals that have been in situations that have needed this type of assistance, that this is a great opportunity for them to get back into the workforce and be able to provide, based upon their experience, training and assistance for individuals. The final program we're asking for approval for is a certificate in allied health. I want to start off by saying the certificate of allied health is not meant to provide employment for a graduate. Instead, this certificate is meant to provide access into our healthcare programs. It is an opportunity for someone who has been out in the career field, distant from their high school graduation time, that is now looking to enter the healthcare field, but doesn't have the entrance requirements. They don't have the proper high school GPA or proper ACT score. At 25, 26 years old, it's difficult to redo your high school years. This gives them the opportunity to get in and establish and show that they have the skills and the knowledge and the drive to really be successful within a healthcare program. Our goal with this program is that it provides access and opportunity for entry into these career fields. We haven't worked out all the details. Our goal, our hope, is that students that complete this with a certain level would then be provided the option of guaranteed enrollment into one of the healthcare programs. The program is structured that it provides them the basics and the introduction into some general education courses, math, English, anatomy and physiology, medical language, and then it also provides them information and training either certified nurse's aide or as an EMT, both required for either one required for all of our healthcare programs except nursing, which requires CNA. So it really sets that foundation as to, and builds that foundation for the skills that they would be needed to be successful within a healthcare program. Pretty much that shows or brings to an end the programs that we're looking to ask for approval. We're asking for your approval, and we stand open for questions.
So in the last one we discussed, would that be more of a general? Kids would maybe have to qualify English scores, math scores, or which would help, I would assume, but would they be tested in those fields or their ability?
We do have entrance requirements into English and math. So they would take the Accuplacer exam, which places them into one of the math courses or English courses. As long as they meet those requirements, they'd be good to go, or they could start with one of the remedial courses, then build their way up. So again, it provides them that access. I didn't mention the other component we're hoping for is this really is an entry program for our high school students, that it provides them, those that maybe didn't quite realize that I have the aptitude, I have the skill. They can develop these skills and the drive while in high school and complete the certificate and be able to launch their career in the healthcare field.
It's a great gateway, and then they also have to have that CNA or EMT, so they are getting a marketable skill as well at the same time. So I think that's a great way to help our students who might not know they have the ability, and we just need to help them get there. So
providing options and opportunities.
I hope we can get it out, because I'm sure there are kids that have been out of high school 3-4 years, are kind of, and they're not really sure. And this, I think it'd be great for people that are kind of in limbo there. Feel huge.
What kind of a timeline are you hoping for each of these programs as far as the starting? I know that's a really big question, but just in general.
Well, this is the first step in the whole process. Next week, we'll be presenting these to the State Board of Technical Education for approval. Once we receive their approval, we will be submitting everything to the Higher Learning Commission. The nice part is we already have programs in all of these fields approved by the Higher Learning Commission. So we do estimate and anticipate that it would be just a desk review and approval. So if everything goes well and without any hitches, we could start as early as next fall with these programs.
For the community health worker, does the South Dakota DOH anticipate needing to fill positions in this area, like many positions? I worry about, I don't worry, but I know Sanford and Navarra have positions already in place that do similar work. So just curious as to, I guess, what the job market would be for that.
Great question, Ms. Parker. And the South Dakota Department of Health is anticipating a huge influx of these positions. The number is kind of vague. It is an emerging career field, so to be able to point to data as far as history, we really don't have. We're kind of going off what's happened in other states. With the grant that the state of South Dakota has received, part of the grant is going to go for covering tuition. So there is a lot of funds allocated to help cover tuition of students to go through the program. I do also know that they have funds allocated to provide funding to healthcare providers or different agencies to initially hire these and keep them employed with the guarantee that they keep them employed over a period of time. Again, they're talking several hundred, but exact number, I don't know what they're anticipating.
I can see it definitely being an emerging need, just with how complicated healthcare can be, and how, really having that resource for patients to work with somebody that can kind of, again, I'll use the word navigate, but navigate them through their system and coordinate care between different providers and so on and so forth. So I'm excited to see that the state is behind this as well.
It's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
I think about basically the rest of our state has a healthcare desert, really. And so you don't have access, and you also are miles away from somewhere, and a doctor or a nurse is not moving to, Reheights, South Dakota. So this can be that liaison for them, as well as the pandemic has made it aware that many people don't have a primary healthcare provider, and that's part of the problem we've faced. So I think this will be a good way to help our communities in our state. So.
Yeah, and I can remember I went to the sector breakfast on healthcare, and I remember people from both systems talking about the need for a behavioral and mental health technician. And so, I think the pandemic makes it seem like that was forever ago, but it wasn't. And so you think about how quickly you guys have responded to that request and are bringing something forward. And I think that's so encouraging. And again, an example of the flexibility and the nimbleness of, and the desire for Southeast Tech to be able to really look at what the community needs and turn around and present a solution to that. So that's exciting to me. And I can even see, you guys weren't here for our last presentation, but from the school district perspective, I could see us employing people in that type of a role as our mental health and as our behavioral challenges continue. So I think lots of places can help people with, or could use a person in that role with whatever that mental health crisis might be, to have somebody on staff. So I wanted to say, first of all, that I'm always excited when you come with these reports, because I'm like, what are we going to do now? Like, there's so many exciting things, and you always have great ideas. So I wanted to say that first, but I still believe it even after hearing it, because it seems like you come to us, it seems like 6 to 9 months, and you're like, we want to do this, and they're always great ideas, and they're always successful, and people come because they're exactly what our community needs. And so thank you for all of you for your vision for that, and for listening to the business partners and to the community, and reacting to that with a solution, or at least being part of that solution. So
Well, I have to commend the faculty and staff. They're the ones that really carry the lion's share of all of this. I think they sometimes look at me and bow their heads, oh, another goofy idea, where are we going to go now? But the faculty and staff get on board, and they help drive this and make it reality. So without them, it wouldn't be possible.
yeah. Well, thank you all.
Seeing no other questions or discussion, do I have a motion to approve and authorize Southeast Tech to submit an application for new program approval for the 4 areas Dr. Valdez mentioned?
So moved.
Second, please.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is approved. Thank you very much.
So for my second report, it is just an update on our additional location approval. You can remember several months ago, we came to the board and asked for approval to open up Huron Community Center and Sanford Stevens Center as additional locations. At the Sanford Stevens Center here in Sioux Falls, we're starting our paramedic program there, Associate of Applied Science and Paramedic Science. And in Huron, we have our LPNRN and medical assisting program there. I wanted to inform the board that earlier, a few weeks ago, we received final notification from the Higher Learning Commission providing and granting full authorization for both of those sites as additional locations to Southeast Tech. So I'm excited to formally let you know that Southeast Tech is growing, and we have additional locations now on the books.
Awesome.
Good job.
Very exciting.
For the final presentation. It is a request to add 2 more additional locations. The additional locations are CTE Academy, part of the Sioux Falls School District, and Harrisburg High School, part of the Harrisburg School District. Both Career and Technical Education Academy and Harrisburg High School currently offer a wide variety and number of dual enrollment and concurrent enrollment courses. Next step is, and this is part of the National Alliance and Concurrent Enrollment Accreditation process and Higher Learning Accreditation process, is to formally move to see them and accredit them as additional locations at Southeast Tech. The purpose and the reason behind adding them as additional locations would be that a student from Harrisburg or CTE Academy would be able to actually complete and graduate with a diploma or certificate from one of those high schools. Once we hit that 50% threshold, we do have to formally seek Higher Learning Commission approval. At CTE, we have a whole plethora of courses: business, computer science, construction, welding, and we're expanding into other areas. Within Harrisburg, it's been limited to construction and nursing, but we're hoping to expand there as well as we form additional partnerships with them. So at this point, we are asking for formal approval from the board to authorize us to move forward with submitting applications to the Higher Learning Commission to add Career and Technical Education Academy and Harrisburg High School as additional locations of Southeast Tech. I stand open for questions.
Seeing no questions, do I have a motion to approve the addition of CTE Academy and Harrisburg High School as?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, same sign. That is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Now we're moving on to nursing programs update.
Right. Well, good afternoon. I am Colette Schwartz, and
I'm Jen Patras.
and we are here just to present our story to you for our nursing programs at Southeast Technical College. So our main executive summary for this presentation is just to inform you about our programs.
So we'll each kind of break off. So I'm one of the LPN faculty, so I'll talk a little bit more towards that. And then Colette is in the RN program. So with our LPN program, it is a diploma program. Students will complete at least one semester of prereqs, depending on how many credits they decide to take. But it can be lumped into one semester of prereqs. And then our course, our program is anywhere from 12 to 18 months if they're taking it full-time or a part-time track or some tailored route in that way. So they do have to have a CNA prior to starting our program. So if so sometimes if they take it at our location for credit, then that adds into their prerequisite load, but they can obtain their CNA outside of that. So it's not listed as like a coursework prerequisite, but still one of the things that we have them do prior to coming into our main coursework. So.
And our program is more of an LPN to an RN program, so they have one semester prerequisites that they take after they achieve their LPN license, and then they have to work 750 hours and have a couple of professional references. So then it's about a 1-year program. It can be extended a little bit longer in the way we have it working right now, just because of the workload that our students have in addition to working as an LPN during that time.
So our faculty and staff, as far as our administrative piece of it, we have one full-time Associate Dean of Nursing, so it's Jacqueline Kramer, Department Chair of Health, Brittany Maurer, and then our Nursing Program Secretary is Christy Dews. As far as our faculty, we have 9 full-time faculty, and we just listed some of the qualifications behind here. So one of those serves as a program coordinator, and our Department Chair of Health also serves as a coordinator for the clinical sites. And then our program coordinator is more for the advising students and keeping them on the right track and that type of thing. We range in our education and experience, which is actually really beneficial to our students.
And then there's a few of us that have special certifications on top of that as well. And then there's several of us that are in the process of gaining more certifications. So anywhere from specialization in nursing education to healthcare simulation education, but different little specialties so we can just bring current best practice to our students. So we do have a full-time lab specialist who is an LPN who is able to serve in that role well. She helps us in the lab, she helps with open lab, getting our stuff prepped, but it's a great way to have an LPN actually in that in the program working as we're trying to teach our students to be LPNs too. So with lots of adjuncts. So all of our clinical sites, when the students go out there, they require adjuncts, faculty, because our faculty can't work all those different places because our load is, or our ratio is much different when we're out at clinical sites. So it's usually 1 to 8, 1 to 4, or 1 to 2, depending on the specialty or the site that we're at. And so some of our adjunct clinical instructors will serve as LPN instructors and RN instructors. Some are just one or the other. So we kind of share that. But again, just a wide variety of backgrounds and experiences from all of our faculty, and then also with our adjuncts.
In the RN program, we have 4 full-time faculty, all with our masters, and 3 of us are certified nurse educators. So here's just a picture we tried to put in our most current picture. As you can see, this was taken during a COVID year, so we have the lovely Teams computer on the front seat there that Brittany is holding for us with our members who were joining in remotely at that time. So we have done a lot of work in our community with our students too. If you look at the upper left, I guess it would, yeah, it would be the upper left. There are some pictures of some individuals they look like they are crosswalk guards, but what they're doing is we're actually helping the state with the flu shot clinic. And so we helped in T, or I helped with some students in T, and it was an incredible time to support our communities, but also an opportunity for our students to get more practice.
Another thing that we've sort of kicked back into gear now that we're more back to normal than we have been for a while, our student org, our LPN student org specifically, has been trying to take a more active role. So I'm actually the advisor for that as well. So we've done some things within the community. Recently we did the Walk a Mile event with the St. Francis House, which was a really great experience. The students collected stuff for the backpacks to donate, and then we also walked the mile with that. And then we also, next week, it's their finals week, but they are going to, in a creative break with finals, we're going to tie fleece blankets to donate to Children's Inn. And so it's a great way. We have a leadership team of 6 that are in place, and we are using their specific connections to help drive what our community service projects are, so that way it's tailored to the students that are in it instead of just this is what we do on this day. It's how are you involved in the community, and what would you like to see in the community? So it gives them that opportunity.
So,
no, go ahead.
That's good. So our program, all the curriculum, student, and program outcomes are aligned with our QSIN outcomes. So quality and safety education for nurses is basically what we have available to us is the opportunity for our LPN and RN programs to be aligned. And so it's kind of a step process on how we work our curriculum and our outcomes, because our scope of practice is slightly different. And both of our LPN and RN programs have approval status from the South Dakota Board of Nursing. We are also, the RN program has full accreditation from ACEN, which is a nursing-specific accreditation agency. But the LPN program just completed their site visit from the Board of Nursing, and they have full approval status for 4 more years. And then they just submitted their ACEN accreditation application and are gathering the necessary components to then be also ACEN accredited.
So just kind of talking about what our LPN students look like, what we typically see. So we see a wide range in LPN, also with RN, but they can be recent high school graduates. So some of them will work through the post-secondary realm to be able to have some of their prereqs and literally graduate in May and come to us in the fall. Some of them will finish up those like 1 or 2 courses and then come to us in the fall. If they're seeking a second career, we see a lot of non-traditional students in our program, and then the non-traditionals that are trying college for the first time. So maybe they went straight into the workforce or whatever the case is, but then they want to come back and actually have some sort of an educational field. So our full-time program that we have is fast-paced. So we recommend that when students are in our full-time program that they don't work any more than 20 hours per week. For some students, it's a little bit of a struggle, and even we've heard students that say, you know what, I just went to PRN completely, so I just work like once a month or something because they just want to really focus on that. Some students have to maintain a little bit higher, so they sometimes they can make it work with working a little bit more, but it's fast-paced. We always tell them that at the beginning that it's fast-paced, like it's, you know, it's short-term in as far as that goes, but then it's very rigorous. Our part-time, we have day and evening options for our part-time program, and they finish usually in about 18 months. And those ones are working a little more on the full-time side. Some of them are just taking it at a slower pace and still only working 20 hours a week or less. So we have a lot of variety. And also if students start full-time and they find that it's just a little too much for them, our program coordinator, Amanda, she works with them to really like tailor, okay, so how can we still get you through the program, but maybe we need to go at a different pace than what you originally planned. So we do a lot of working with our students in that way. And speaking of our students, so we actually brought one of our LPN students here, so we're gonna let her tell you a little bit about why she chose nursing and also why she chose STC.
Hi, my name is Brooke. I'm a first semester LPN student. Why I chose nursing, I've always wanted to serve in the community. I did a lot of volunteering throughout high school, everything like that. And also when I was 12 years old, I lost my grandpa pretty traumatically, and the nurses that helped us like get through it, everything really made an impact on me, and like I want to do the same for anybody that goes through it. Why I chose STC, so I did attend South Dakota State for 2 years before I decided to come in here. I was looking for a smaller class size, and they were able to give me that. Also, I am also dyslexic, and I have short-term memory loss when it comes to comprehension. So I needed something that was going to be able to work with me and be able to get me through my classes because I need the little bit of extra help. The location also is closer because I was in Brookings, now I'm in Sioux Falls. I'm originally from Iowa, so I'm about a little bit closer to my parents, and with some of my recent health concerns, it just works out better. The flexibility, like Mrs. Patra said, I work part-time right now. I work about 12 hours a week, and I can still do that, and I'm a full-time student, so it works really well in my schedule. And I also was looking for a different program. Like I said, STCU wasn't just the best fit for me, so I decided to go somewhere else, and I could get started with them in the fall, and I'm looking to graduate in May. So
That's great. Good for you. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thanks, Britt. So our RN program, just like we stated before, they must have an current LPN license to work or come into our program with work experience. Many of our students are working full-time while they are still taking their courses. So we do recommend, kind of like Mrs. Patra said too, in the aspect of cutting back to at least 20 hours a week, but a lot of the times that's not feasible for our students and their families. And so we have done a very good job about accommodating our students and ensuring that they can still complete our program within a allotted time. So usually for our program, the RN program, it's about 2 days on campus. But a lot of our actual classwork is done online. And then our students really have to be organized from the start in order for them to be successful in our program because it is very fast-paced. We also have a student from our program who also graduated from the LPN program, Maddie. She's going to share a little bit more with you.
Good afternoon. My name is Maddie DeLang. So I graduated from
Parents
the LPN
are their
program in
child's
June
first
2018.
teachers and best.
And then I will graduate from the RN program in the summertime, so like July. And I'm currently working as an LPN at the Sanford Children's Specialty Clinic. And then after my RN, I actually just accepted a position within my specialty clinic within an area there. And then I also have plans to hopefully float upstairs just for some inpatient experience as well. Oh, yes. So I guess background on why I chose nursing to begin with as well. So I grew up in a household of nurses. My mom's a nurse and now works in management at Sanford. My sister's an RN as well. So just had that experience. I was always very passionate about sciences in high school and just had a really interest in that. And also just recognizing the need in not only Sioux Falls, but just in South Dakota in general, just for nursing. And I like working with people, and so that's why I went into the nursing career. And I had started out at Augustana University initially when I had graduated high school. And didn't overly love the 4-year track. You know, I kind of wanted to look into my other options, and there were some people that I knew that were going to Southeast Tech, and I just wanted to explore that more. I was working as a registrar at Sanford and really liked working in the clinic, and you know, never thought about, well, maybe I should go the LPN route first and just get that experience. And so then I looked into Southeast and then went through the LPN route, and I'm very glad that I did. The experience that the LPN program gave me prepared me so much for the RN program. Doesn't definitely make it any easier going through RN school, but however, I feel very prepared. And even when I entered into the workforce as an LPN and sitting for my boards, I felt completely prepared. My instructors prepared me, very realistic as well. You know, like when we're taking our NCLEX and like why practice is important and sitting for our boards, and all of the material we learned really made a huge difference. And so I love that. And so then looking into going for my RN, it was never really a question whether I wanted to go somewhere else. I knew I wanted to go to Southeast just because of the experience. And so I'm very thankful for my experience at Southeast. And yeah.
Thank you.
So now we're going to talk just a little bit of data. So the LPN program started in 2001, and that was before I started with the program. So I know that it's changed a lot through the years, that we're always striving to just make sure that it's the best fit for our students, our community, and all the needs that are identified. Again, we have the 2 full-time program starts, one in the fall and one in the spring. And then we have 2 part-time starts per year as well. Our fall start is for the day program, and then our evening start is in the spring. So we have options, and so that also is what helps us. Any students that are struggling, we can pull them into another cohort because we have so many different start times and a lot of different things going on. And then the Huron program, that one starts in the fall, so the LPN program that goes there. Our graduation rate is consistently greater than 80%. And then we have our 2020 board pass rates of 91, almost 92%, which is well above the national average. And we also term that our COVID graduation rate, which this is actually a much lower pass rate than we normally have. So usually it's a little bit higher. So this was kind of our COVID graduating group.
We give ourselves credit, right?
Yeah.
We should. Absolutely.
So that little asterisk behind all the data.
Exactly. So the LPN to RN program was started in 2012. We just started our Huron RN program in 2018. Our retention rate is consistently above 75%, and our board pass rate for 2020 was 95.08, which is phenomenal if you compare it across the state, and that's why we've received several of our awards. So you've seen a lot of our graduates, probably when you go to your primary clinics, when you go to the hospital. A lot of our graduates stay here within our community, which is pretty phenomenal. Our job placement rate for both of our programs is 100%. Again, they have many, many different opportunities to work in many different areas once they graduate from our programs, and many of our RN students then are able to complete their BSN online. We have many success stories too. Our LPN nursing lab specialist just came on board not that long ago. She graduated from our LPN program. I actually had her as a student.
And then Tori just came on as well as LPN faculty, and she graduated from both our LPN and our RN program. So it's really fun to see our graduated students getting some experience and then coming back and helping teach the next generation.
Yeah. And then Michelle, she's here.
She's here.
She's our CNA coordinator and LPN faculty. She graduated from our LPN program. And then Myra Workmeister, who is in the RN program. She graduated from our RN program. So thank you. Thank you for listening to our story. Sorry, we went a little bit over our time.
All right.
You were very humble. Your both programs have been very compared to nationally. So I know you've won several awards and over that. So congratulations to all of you and your staff. You're just doing a great job. You make our job easy and make it exciting to hopefully that we can look at expansion of your programs through different avenues. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would just add, I think it's your last few slides of the people who came back in different capacities, I think is so awesome. As a nurse myself, when I went into the field, it was my second career, and I had no idea the number of positions that are available for a nurse that don't involve bedside care.
Yeah.
And so I think the bedside care is so important, and it gives you that perspective on compassion and taking care of people. But it also gives you that perspective on safety goals and why do we do things the way that we do, and why do we have protocols, and why do we have all these things in place. And I'm in my third, I've been a nurse for 11 years, and I'm in my third position of, I was a bedside nurse, then I worked in IT doing stuff with the computer system, and now I'm doing credentialing of physicians. And so I just think, and I just have my bachelor's degree. And so I just think of all the different aspects and the importance of each of those aspects of nursing that can happen. And obviously right now we need nurses taking care of patients, but we also need nurses who are caring about patient safety and who are caring about, do we have the right people taking care of our patients? And so there's just so many opportunities that if you get into nursing and you find, I can't stand on my feet for 12 hours, that's no big deal. Like, there are other options. And so to those people who might be questioning that, the LPN program or the RN program are great programs, because those roles can still get you into other positions where you can still be compassionate and you can still care about caring for people. So keep up the great work and keep bringing those people into our facilities, because we definitely need them in lots of different roles, and it's great to know how well prepared they are when they come from Southeast Tech.
Thank you.
Seeing no other comments or questions, do I have a motion to acknowledge the nursing programs overview?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is acknowledged. Thank you so much. And our last report, access and workforce, and first time to us. Welcome.
Good afternoon, President Mickelson. Good afternoon, members of the board. I apologize, I have a little bit of a head cold and a sinus thing going on, so I might be froggy and I might need a drink, but I will try to get through this without already having problems. Well, so I will start by saying that I started this position in July. And so this update today is to give you an overview of the vision and direction as I and as the supportive team I have at Southeast Tech see it, and some of the accomplishments that we have thus far in the months that I've been in this role. So the mission of Southeast Technical College, as you may be aware, is to educate individuals for dynamic and rewarding careers that promote lifetime success and meet the workforce needs of our region. Workforce is something that I'm really focused on, because as we know, our workforce needs are increasing every day. We have a very diverse population, and so trying to understand how can we best serve this demographic is one of the key components of what I see my role as. One of our statements on diversity and equity is our value statement that we have for Southeast Tech, and it is that we value and respect the dignity and worth of all persons and the diverse opportunities that are available to everyone. You can find both of those statements on our website. I've come up with my own mission statement, working with my advisory committee, working with President Griggs, and the statement that I have thus far says that the mission of the Office of Access and Workforce Opportunity at Southeast Technical College is to promote inclusive, equitable atmosphere that encourages all individuals to fulfill their personal and professional potential. So again, coming back to that idea of workforce, how can they fulfill this professional desire that they have? So I have set 6 goals for myself. And again, this is in conjunction with working with President Griggs, working with the advisory committee that I have. My advisory committee is made up of 8 members from the community, from industry, all walks of life. We have people from the VA, we have people from the USD Center for Disabilities, we have people who have worked with incarceration and reintegration programs into the community. So lots of different voices, but they all kind of have a stake in helping various demographics succeed. So on this slide, I have all 6 goals together, and so we can look at them individually here, but then each one of the subsequent slides, I kind of break down a little bit more of what that goal means, and then some of the accomplishments related to said goal. So goal 1 is to identify barriers to college access and success in order to recruit, enroll, retain, and graduate diverse students. Some of the things that I have been doing are visiting high schools, Lincoln, Washington High, going to Joe Foss at Axtell and working with some of those students there. Been discussing what it means to enroll in college. What does that process look like? You can go to college is something that I'm saying to these students who might be first generation, say, well, my parents don't know how to help me. They're not really encouraging me. What can I do to be a guide for those students? I am going to be at Joe Foss hopefully in the next week, and we're going to be looking at an STC application day. Once they do that application process, then I will return in January and we will do a Build Dakota application process. It is a little bit of hand-holding, but for some of these students who, again, don't have those resources, that's something that I'm happy to provide to them to get them through that process. Presentations to Parent University is something that I've woven into this role too. I have been going to Hawthorne and meeting with Dr. DeSouza's group and kind of learning what are the needs that they see for their students, but then how can we also offer educational opportunities to them. In the Parent University class that I was in on Monday, 6 of the women were Latina, and they were looking at how do I rearrange my schedule to try and get educational opportunities. These women all said, I want night classes. So that's something that's of interest to them. One of the other women there works during the day. She needs a GED. So I gave her our adult literacy program brochure. She's interested in trying to take that first step in completing her GED. So I see this as a really good opportunity to get out into the community in many ways and find out what are people looking for and how can we serve them. I am currently in the process of developing a trades event for the 8th graders at McGovern. I've been working with Vice Principal Richie Hutchinson, and we have settled on a date, April 20th. We're going to have one group of 8th graders come over in the morning, one group of 8th graders come over in the afternoon. I have 3 industry partners who will be bringing tools, equipment, and personnel. And so this is a relationship building opportunity because those staff members can say, this is why I went into this trade. This is what I expected of it. Here's the reality. Here's something that you can take from this day. So they'll get some hands-on. They're only in 8th grade, so we're not expecting to recruit them tomorrow. But if we can give them that positive experience and say, here's somebody who's doing this thing that you might be interested in, the hope is that that will stick in their brain and they'll think about, this is a track that I could pursue when I get into high school. Peer-to-peer mentorship programs and scholarships is something that I am in the process of developing. President Griggs and I have talked about a industry partner to peer mentorship program. My advisory committee strongly suggested that we look at a peer-to-peer relationship instead. And so that's not to say that we won't eventually develop some sort of mentorship program where an industry partner comes in and walks alongside a student. But right now I'm putting energy into trying to develop what would a peer mentorship program and scholarship look like. More will be coming on that as more is available to share. And then finally, I've been working one-on-one with students who are currently at Southeast Tech. So I've got about 18 hours in one-on-one time with students. Sometimes students are referred to me by their instructor. Sometimes I have presented at a class that they're in and they say, oh, this person maybe has a cultural background similar to mine. I can go talk to them in a way that maybe I can't talk to somebody else. Sometimes they're referred to me by one of the other support services, whether that's an academic advisor or accessibility services. So in terms of working with the student success team that we have at Southeast Tech, we have Nadine Jurdy and Julie Westerman who are working in similar support roles and that they are scaffolding for students. If students have a concern, they can go to their academic advisor, who might be Julie, who might be Nadine. If they have an accessibility issue, they would go to Nadine. If they need some tutoring, they might go to Julie first. I'm working with these individuals as well because if somebody has gone to Julie and they need tutoring for English, they might get some of that help from Julie. They might come to me where I'm also tutoring in that role. Or say somebody has been referred to me and their instructor says, you know, this student is really struggling with English. I know they're a non-native speaker. I don't know how to help them. So I might sit and work with that student and try to assess, okay, what is going on? How can we support you? And then through working with them, I might realize, you know what, it is a little bit of the language barrier, but I really think there's something else going on too. So at that point, then I could pass that student off to Nadine and say, hey, I've been working with this student. Can we get them some assessment, some testing to see if, oh, this thing has fallen through the cracks for years and years, but as soon as we get this evaluation in place, maybe they will then have the support they need to be successful. So that's some partnership with other areas of student success. Goal 2 is to support a welcoming, inclusive campus climate. So this is where I am trying to do trainings in classes, talking to students about what does it mean to be culturally competent in your field. This is where I'm doing leadership training or personal development, professional development training with staff and faculty to help them understand. You might have this student that you're not sure how you connect with them. turns out they grew up in a refugee camp. So here's some additional information to try and help you work with this particular student or this particular type of student that you maybe aren't aware of. I'm currently participating in our strategic planning process, and this is what's allowing me to kind of understand what else instructors need. I'm very lucky in that I have a lot of support from staff and faculty, from the adjuncts. They are asking questions and they're coming to me, but I don't always have the chance to interact with them because I'm not going to faculty meetings. So through this process, looking at surveys, I'm able to kind of understand what is it that they're looking for and how can I help serve them. Goal 3 is evaluate curriculum for inclusion and appreciation of diverse backgrounds. So this sort of speaks again to that idea of how can I help instructors who aren't familiar with a certain demographic, how can I help them create course objectives or language objectives? Maybe they've already got their course objectives, but that student isn't understanding what it means to analyze something. Can you give them an example that's relevant to something contextual for them? Instructors have come to me for this, and I haven't really been seeking people out in my time. They have just sort of been coming, but this is something that I would like to build on in the future. And then interpretation services and sharing resources is another component that I'm trying to connect people with as we maybe need those services on campus. Where do we find them? What's the most cost-effective option? This is one example of a student survey. So after I present to a class on cultural competency in healthcare or cultural competency in the business world, I administer a survey to the students and I ask them to complete it. This is one from our diagnostic medical sonography program. And you can see that we had about 27 students who participated. This is just 2 questions. So there were 10 questions on this survey. And students said that they felt that the training that I provided was helpful. And so it's good to see that the students are able to make connections to, oh, I'm going to go work at Sanford. I'm going to go work at Avero. I might interact with people who don't have the same background as me. I feel a little bit more prepared on how to do that, or I know the questions to ask now. Goals 4 and 5 are to identify, employ, and retain a diverse staff and faculty, and to uphold our institutional commitment to diversity. And I see these things working hand in hand. We know that students who see themselves represented in the staff, the faculty, the authority figures around them are more likely to succeed, they're more likely to stay where they are, they're more likely to persist through graduation. And so how do we have these discussions? What does that look like? We have wonderful employees. Everybody that I work with is great, but what can we do to help provide some more of that as we think about the path that we want to forge going forward? And my final goal is to work with the Southeast Technical Foundation to locate and secure financial resources for doing this work. One of the things that I am grateful to have received early on is a grant from Wells Fargo for a financial literacy presentation, perhaps a program, and a financial investment club for students. Our clubs at Southeast Tech are student-driven. So we have certain parameters in place where we have to have a certain amount of student interest before we just launch a club. And our students have expressed some interest in that. So we're currently looking at how do we move forward with this. We've recently been awarded a grant from the South Dakota Humanities Council to do some storytelling about our first gen and our diverse students. That will be a really great opportunity at the end, once we have completed this storytelling process and filmed it, to do a showcase with the community, invite the community to Southeast Tech or wherever we host this screening and have a discussion with the community about some of the successes that our students have. And then the peer-to-peer mentoring program and scholarship, as I mentioned, is something that is currently in the works. So that is my presentation in a nutshell, but I invite any questions or comments from anything.
Well, wow, you just got here in July and you've done a lot, and I really appreciate all the effort and how you've already gathered an advisory committee through the community to help with the input, and the 2-Gen Ed with reaching out to Parent University. I just think that's a great partnership with the school district to continue going forward, because while their children are in school, maybe they can seek out, or at night after work, you know, how we can help those families in our school district. I just think is amazing, and I just keep doing what you're doing, and thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, President Nicholson.
I think about your reference, and I know it's different, but not having been through your presentation, but I saw the reference to the iceberg, and I think about, I feel like a lot of these things were being done at the tip of the iceberg, and it was maybe 5 or 6 different people, more than that probably. I did this, I went to that class and I talked to them about this, and I helped this student. And those were all with great intention. But the fact that now we have one person that's dedicated to kind of reining that in, you know, maybe we can see more of the iceberg instead of having all of these things that we don't know about. We can kind of see a lot more of that big picture based on the things that you're uncovering and the goals that you have set for yourself. And so it's just so awesome to have somebody that's dedicated to that I can tell just by you. I mean, this is your first presentation, you're confident and you are passionate. And I think that those are 2 things that are super important because people are going to engage with you and they're going to want to learn more. And so that's going to be a huge gift to Southeast Tech and to the community of Sioux Falls, because the things that you will uncover in the communities, not just at your buildings, but in the elementaries and the middle schools and the high schools that you touch. I think about Steve's quote about you cannot be what you cannot see. And Steve Hildebrand, I don't know if that's his quote or if he stole that from somebody. I'm going to give him credit. But I think about you bringing these students from McGovern to Southeast Tech, which, you know, they probably ride by it on the bus every day. They have no idea what it is. It's a big building where people drive to. They don't know what that means. And so for them to be able to come and see and experience that versus looking at it in a magazine or maybe watching a video about it in their classroom, the fact that they get to leave their site and they get to come to yours and they maybe get to touch tools and they get to see somebody wearing what looks to be like really cool equipment that they get to work in. You know, like all of those things make impressions. And so like you said, you know, they're not going to enroll as a 9th grader and jump into classes, but will that leave an impression on 5 of them, on 10, who knows? But to get them back and give them a dream or give them a vision of something that they can actually see and feel, I think that will make a huge difference. And so I'm hoping that that's just the beginning of many trips or many kind of those things that they can actually see and touch that will make a difference to them and really have an impact long term. So thank you for you and all of the team's work that's really making a difference. And it's probably hard to measure, but it's a feel good thing. And I think that the more people that feel good and the more people that you can bring in and help them to be successful in their own goals and their own dreams is amazing, and it's really impactful to the community. So thank you.
I think the biggest challenge for Sioux Falls and South Dakota is workforce. I mean, I don't know where the people are coming from for Amazon or the new pork plant or whatever. So it's very important that we develop a good workforce, and education, of course, is, in my opinion, the foundation of a good workforce. So I think it'll be a great program, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
Seeing no other comments or questions, do I have a motion to acknowledge the Access and Workforce Opportunity Update?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.
I just want to remind, like, December 7th, we have a joint meeting with the Board of Technical Ed. They'll be in Sioux Falls in the community. And December 10th is Southeast Tech graduations. For anybody watching. And then the strategic planning is going the following week. So
Do I need to wear a tie and a sport coat to that graduation? That's my question. I've never been. I went to my own graduation.
Bob's not here, but I think you can wear
Yeah.
whatever you want. They'll be
You
most
guys
of
check
them
me
will
at
be
the
wearing
door.
the
I'll have some
robes and
stuff on a
hats.
hanger in the car.
Any other information for the good of the board? Seeing none, do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you.
So, got that right. It's a Premier Bank.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So-
On Minnesota.
No, it was good. This was all good information. Yeah. Just
I need.
like my
to check
husband always
this off.
says, you know, because he was at your meeting, was it last?
That was a nice job. That was fun. That was good information.